And here's the whole tie-in to this loneliness thing. If we're under social stress, if we're lonely. Did you read about this study? I have to tell people about this. It's in this book, but it's the Community Cure by James MASKELL.
Transforming outcomes, is that what the
Yes, transforming. And the Mark Hyman is in here, but I think your guy, isn't Dr. Perlmutter your guy? Oh no, he writes the entrance for Dr. Bredesen's. Dr. Mark Hyman writes the preface in here, I think. And he's also spoken a lot about, because of his Daniel Amen, the experiment they did with group visits. But at any rate, what I wanted to talk about though is this study that's it's in this book, or it talks about a number of studies that you may have heard about, how much more a risk high social stress, loneliness is to chronic disease mortality. So that means like mortality from heart disease, stroke, heart attack, diabetes. I would like to say mental health is a big part of chronic disease, addiction, right? And in this, they defined in a UCLA Laboratory for Stress Assessment and Research, they are studying, there's an emerging science called the human social genomics. And they did some research, and also there was a 2010 study, and all the way back to a 1988 study that was published in Science magazine about this. And they rated, so let me give the example. So physical inactivity has a 1.23 risk for chronic disease-related mortality. Get this one. Alcohol greater than 6 drinks a day.
Six drinks a day of alcohol. Do you know how?
1.31 is the risk factor. I know this is this is a study, recent study. Smoking. So we're at 1.25 for physical inactivity, greater than 6 drinks a day, which I cannot imagine, but that is drinks at probably measured at an ounce of alcohol. So that might be 3 for some of the rest of us. I don't know. Risk factors, yes. Okay, but 1.31. And a lot of people who are lonely drink more.
Yeah.
Right? So it just kind of goes back, or are depressed and don't want to do physical inactivity, right? Smoking greater than 15 cigarettes a day, which they put as a higher risk than even drinking 6 drinks a day, 1.52. High social stress, which can be loneliness, it can be breaking a social bond, like a divorce, getting fired from your job, losing your job because you're losing a whole community. How often is that happening right now? A lot. 1.65. Greater risk for chronic disease mortality than smoking more than 15 cigarettes a day, drinking more than 6 drinks a day, being physically inactive. It's huge.
It is.
And I'll tell you, that's kind of the reason I realized, I think a lot of my life, that's for me personally, that was a big part of it. But now I'm seeing all these people that are coming to me, and boy, is it common. Yeah. Now more than ever. I mean, it's been a factor for me for 50 years, but for so many, and for so many, I think it has been too, but it's more and more. So people are coming to me to coach through some lifestyle issue, and I would say nearly everyone is reporting some amount of disconnection. Mm-hmm. We know spiritual health isn't just about going to church, if that's what you choose to do, or yoga even, although I know it helps, or mindfulness. It's connectiveness. Mm-hmm. And so that's the next. As a naturopathic doctor, I can look at a lot of patterns, and I can put the systems together, and I can definitely analyze if there's nutritional deficiencies and what they are. And I can look at genetic reports and analyze those. And what I'm saying though is that all of it's great, but we still have to, and that'll educate people, but we still have to be able to get them from education to intrinsic motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To change the knowledge into experience, or even to educate, to understand, to comprehend, and then to integrate into the body, so it becomes almost a muscle memory, and it's an automatic response, like your heartbeat or that you breathe.
Transformation, yeah. Right? And so we can do that individually, but what this book proposes, what a lot of things I've read propose, is that we do this in groups, that the evolution of medicine is group medicine, or what I really like, peer medicine.
I like that.
And we take it out amongst our peers like we're doing here, mm-hmm. and join together. And then those peers talk about, I love the word synergy. Mm-hmm. 1 + 1 = 3. Yep. So I like whole food, whole plant, whole everything is synergistic. Mm-hmm. So everybody healing each other, like you don't, it's, someone will come up with a viewpoint, a perspective, so that's their own, but someone else can relate to, and they take that out, and it could be a beautiful thing, and it solves loneliness and purpose.
It makes me feel like, I wouldn't say healing through osmosis, but healing from proximity, healing through the connection, like just being with someone. So like when you're friends with someone, or you're helping to support them emotionally, physically, psychologically, I mean, all these different avenues, and you're in a communal environment, it's almost as if the cells have a way of regenerating themselves with a level of immune fighting for that specific dis-ease. Do you know what I mean? It's with.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, absolutely. And you can feel the energy even when we're talking about it. Do you feel different? What I'm kind of saying is, even when, because we don't do a lot in person anymore, there's definitely the oxytocin factor, right? That hormone of love and
happy hormone.
Yeah, the happy hormone, right? The reason my dog is helping me these days so much is just, we share a lot of oxytocin. He's about the only one ever home with me. But you can do that. I feel like energetically, I think about how much our cohort, when we were going to school, bonded together. Mm-hmm. We, weren't in the same room, but the energy that we got from each other and from our course facilitator was amazing. And so I think there's a lot of room to heal in this way now. Mm-hmm. And I cannot think of a time that we could use it more.
Yeah.
Than in this time of this isolation. So, I just want to carry the message as much as possible, because I feel like it's really important that we need to connect with each other.
Yeah.
We need to try to find a way. This is going to be going on for a long time. Mm-hmm. This is going to be like this, despite what some might say. I believe in science. Mm-hmm. And I know that this is going to be going on well into next year. And already I had a week of, oh my God, I don't think I can do this anymore. But it doesn't matter. It's sort of like, it's going along, and a lot of things happened to me this year, and a lot of stuff has happened to a lot of us. Life does go on, or doesn't go on, or whatever, that it happens anyways. But I feel like it's starting to add up for people a little bit, maybe. It's like we can get through a couple months of this, and the hardest times, but I'm afraid that some of the challenges are just starting with this.
Yeah, and looking at the 5 pillars of wellness, and we've got, as stress, we've got sleep, we've got nutrition, we've got fitness, and then we have relationships. And I know for myself, as my own personal, not a preference, but it's my own practice, is to help people with the relationships that they have with themselves. Because if we have a dysfunctional relationship with ourselves, we're going to have a dysfunctional relationship with other people. It's going to show up, whether it's in our immediate families, with our children, with our parents, with our grandparents, with our spouses, even with our coworkers. It's going to show up there. But with being isolated, and if you are in a relationship with someone who was better as an external relationship, this could even just be a friendship, is just, you know, you were social friends who met at the bar once a week and whatnot. I don't know if those kinds of friendships will be the ones who actually survive all of this social distancing or connecting via the ethers.
Right.
We need that. We need it's like almost like a heart-based connection. It's like a resonance that comes. And I know with like HeartMath, they study that we actually receive life and experience life first through our hearts, and then our hearts send the messages to our brains, and then that's how. It's not that we get life through here and then send it to the heart. It comes here and then goes up, and then it's broken down and interpreted by the brain and the mind. And this situation that we're in with COVID is kind of shoots that home, that you can still have that resonance come through Zoom or Skype or through the phone.
Right.
But that resonance wasn't there to begin with. That relationship's not going to survive any of this.
Oh, true. I think that's true. And I'm thinking more for people that are at home and don't think that they can connect with their groups. I know of someone that I only knew as basically my partner's friend or mentor, and she has a health condition that makes it very difficult for her to see people anyways. But very extroverted. And I saw, after we spoke, I saw where she started posting things about where, like, her group is this church kind of community-based group, a women's group. They're all really intelligent, strong women, compassionate, empathetic, wanting to help people. Most of them are retired, I think, not all, certainly. And they're all leaders, but she is their leader. She is the leader of this group. And I was watching after we spoke, she put some stuff on Facebook about which groups in her area needed donations the most. And I thought, and this was someone who kind of expressed that they didn't feel connected, they were lonely, and just was kind of thinking maybe this is it. Mm-hmm. And then just gradually starting to rediscover that purpose, that sense of purpose and connection with those people. And she has a heart connection with those people. They may just be acquaintances. I don't think my partner and her have seen each other pretty much since me. I met her maybe 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. But they have that heart connection still.
Nice.
Right? So I'm kind of thinking, I think that's where this came from a little bit. And for me too, I know how what you're saying hits home. Mm-hmm. Very much so, that we do have, absolutely, part of my problem is I don't have that relationship with myself. And I know I do need to, in order to take that out, because I want to take out, this wholehearted, wounded, but, still strong, experienced, certainly experienced.
Awesome.
And put that person forth. Mm-hmm.
Well, that person's already in there, just covered up with, other stuff that kind of got in the way. And we all have that, every single one of us. And these times I think are especially challenging because of it. But, the blessing is that with functional medicine and with naturopathic medicine, we know that there are solutions, and we understand the concept of going to the root cause, of going beyond the emotion to what was the trigger for it, and going inward, as well. But I want to